Welcome to Nothing to Be Found with myself, Samuel. And today, this episode's a little bit different from the others. There's no big story today, there's no personal story I'm adding to it, no dramatic arc, just space. Because today, we're talking about silence. And not the silence you think about, but the one you feel. And if that makes no sense, just carry on listening and maybe it will. But it's the silence that holds everything and yet says nothing. And it's hard to talk about silence without turning it into noise. But let's try slowly. Let's sit with it. Let's feel it and see what it has to teach. So I used to hate silence. In conversation, it would make me anxious. I had to say something, anything, just to fill the void. And even if it meant saying nothing at all, just to feel competent, in control, like I wasn't failing at being a person. And that's the thing. So much of our lives are spent just filling space. Filling space up with thoughts, with talk, with fixes, with advice nobody asked for. The noise becomes the default. But deep down, we crave what the noise hides. That still, quiet presence that just lies beneath it all. And one of the hardest lessons I've had to learn, and I'm still learning it, is this. People don't always want your solutions. They don't need fixing. They just want to be seen. They want to be heard. They want to be felt. And I used to think that I had to offer answers, be helpful, be useful. But over time, I realized that the most helpful thing I can offer is space. And no one has taught me that better than my own kids. Not by what they've said, but just by being them. Just sitting with them, being with them without fixing, steering, or filling time. And when I'm listening from a place of headlessness, I don't have my head anymore. It's just this open space, and I have their head, I have their face, their voice, their moment. And it becomes this space for it all to just unfold. That's silence, not the absence of sound, but the absence of self. And when I first started teaching yoga, which, to be fair, wasn't that long ago in the grand scheme of things, I did teach in silence. When I first got back from India, I taught in silence. No music, just breath, body, presence. But these days, I've succumbed to the Western studios, and I often build playlists. And of course, I love music. I make music. I've made hip hop for years, since I was an early teen. So yeah, I've made music longer than I've practiced yoga, and I live it. I love music, but there's still something about silence and practice that feels like this return. And when I'm at home, I still move in silence. I still practice in silence, whether it's yoga, breath work, seated meditation. And even if the kids are being loud and they're climbing over me, that's fine. That's part of the silence too, because noises arise within it. Same when I run. Sometimes I'll play a track. If I'm doing a hard run, I'll play a track to push through. And other times, though, especially on long runs, it's just the sound of my feet pitter-pattering along the concrete with the birds singing. Or maybe I may put a Dharma talk on or something, maybe listen to Alan Watts or something like that. But silence is still holding it all. I once heard someone say the most important part of music is the space between the notes. And it's something I've never forgot, because silence is what gives sound its meaning. In practice, I often invite people to notice the space between their breaths, that brief moment just after the exhale, before the next inhale. That's where it lives. That spaciousness, that stillness, that silence. And it's not something to chase, not something to hold. It's something to be, or better yet, something that's always been there. And I can remember hearing James Lowe say something once, and I can't remember what his exact words were, but the essence of it was something like this. And it's that truth is not found in talking about the truth. The truth is the truth itself. It's found in the silence that remains when the talking stops within the raw experience. And that's it, really. Like, we're so used to naming things, labeling, understanding, but none of that is the thing. Silence doesn't explain, it just holds. It's at the bedrock of everything. And if you're wondering how to feel this kind of silence, like, don't try too hard. Don't try to block out the noise. Don't try to make your mind go quiet. Instead, just see if you can flip the attention inward and just allow the thoughts to come. Just allow the sounds to move through the space. But ask yourself, what are they arising in? What is the background behind all of this? That's silence. Not empty, not dead, but alive. Just holding it all. Have you ever sat with an emotion without naming it? Without pushing it away or trying to fix it? Because that is also silence. That there is presence. That is reality before we mess with it. So, this wasn't the typical episode that I've done. I think that's the point, because silence has nothing to say and absolutely everything to teach. And if this gave you even a moment of pause, a breath, a softening, that's enough. Let this noise come. Let the thoughts swirl. But just know this, beneath it all, you are made of silence. So stay curious, keep exploring. There's nothing to be found.